And hi again, everyone. Dave DiNatale and Tyler Carey with you for the WKYC High School Football Game of the Week preview show. We have reached the final preview show of the year. That means it's state championship weekend, and there are count them, four Northeast Ohio teams competing this weekend in the state championships. And you will hear three of those games with those teams involved at WKYC.com. We are very excited, TC. We'll get to who's playing on Thursday first, or in a second, but our coverage will begin on Friday afternoon, and a chance for the Hilltoppers of Chardon to go back-to-back.
Dino, this is going to be a fun weekend. I think you and I have both been looking forward to this ever since the season kicked off, just the possibilities of what it could be. But yes, it will start our triple header over 2 days. We'll start Friday afternoon from Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton, Ohio, where the 15-0 defending state champions in Division III, the Chardon Hilltoppers, will face the 14-0 Father Baden squad out of the Cincinnati area. That could be overall the best matchup of the weekend. That's just my personal opinion, but it's not the only matchup of the weekend. Then we move on that evening, 7:30 p.m. kickoff. St. Edward, who we saw just pretty much take apart Medina a couple of weeks ago, well, they're going to be playing a very good Springfield team that's coming off, I guess you could say, a bit of an upset over Archbishop Moeller in the state semifinal, a 1-point win for the Wildcats, a thrilling victory there. But then we're not done. Saturday night, we are back in Stark County, where the Kirtland Hornets, with 55 wins in a row, second longest in the history of the state of Ohio, and currently the longest in the nation, they'll play Versailles. Yes, I suppose that's how you pronounce it. They'll take on Versailles in the D5 state championship game. Dino, what a weekend it promises to be. Three very good teams, three established programs going up against very good squads from around the state. This is what it's all about, my friend.
And I'll have the two games Friday. TC will join me in Canton on Saturday for the call of that Kirtland game against not Versailles. I guess if we were playing in France, we'd call them Versailles, but Versailles, that matchup on Saturday night. Let's get to the first game that'll take place in this weekend of football, and it will be a game, unfortunately, we won't be covering, but we'll certainly be watching very closely. Archbishop Hoban, who we just saw last Friday win an epic battle against Avon, they'll take on Winton Woods in the Division II state championship game, and they'll be looking again to go back-to-back, well, the Knights, and add another state championship to this impressive run they've had going back to 2015. TC, as I think about Hoban, it wasn't that they won yet again. It was how they beat Avon. They went to something maybe we haven't seen them do in previous years. Very methodical, very slow moving, but effective with that running game. And Sperling was kind of the epicenter of that. And if I could give a playoff MVP to anybody, he deserved it, because he has been so good for so many postseason games now for the Knights, and he carried that team with the offensive line on his back and helped get them past Avon.
Nearly cracked that 300-yard mark again, and what was really just a great game to watch. I'm so happy we were able to be a part of it and cover it. You said it. We're so used to Hoban just blowing teams out, and they have done that this year. It really, I think, means something to them and to us to see them win a gut check game where, all right, you got to get down in the trenches and go take this. It's not just going to be handed to you. And we knew that this was going to be a different Avon team, a healthy Avon team, an Avon team going against the Hoban team that some in that community felt was maybe a year away from getting back to a state championship. But here they are. It just shows you how good that program has been under Tim Terrell. Your heart breaks for Avon, of course, and you and I both think they're going to be back at some point, but a great season for Mike Elder, Sam DiTilio, and those guys. And what else can you say but hats off to Hoban? I mean, Lamar Sperling, just what a talent he is. I think you told me probably one of the best running backs you've seen in this area in a very long time. And they're going to be playing a tough Winton Woods team. They just beat Green, who upset Massillon. It's not going to be easy, but I think they know that. And I think that win last week proves that they can have a tough game when they need to and still go out and get the job done.
Yeah, and just finishing your thought about Avon, it would not surprise me at all 360 some odd days from now if we're talking about yet another Hoban-Avon state semifinal game. That's another epic battle. Both these teams have so many important skill players coming back. I mean, Detilio will be back, Kathy will be back, Earhart will be back. That's just on the Avon offense. Earhart back on defense along with Austin Mitchell. What Avon has done over the last couple of years is really bolster their depth with talent. And I thought this year, as compared to other years, TC, Avon was fresh and they were ready for this game and they were ready to go 15 or 16 weeks. They didn't have any major injuries. And this experience, I mean, I know they're tired of hearing, boy, this experience, makes you better and all that. They don't want those platitudes. But I really do think that gap is closed and they're going to get better. And there will come a time when the Eagles will take that mantle. It just wasn't to be this year.
I agree with you 100%. I mean, it's been the one thing they can't do is ascend Mount Hoban, as it's been called. I know one year they played Massillon, which that was just a loaded Tiger team. And you're right. How many years do we just look back and going into the game, it's like, all right, they're playing Hoban or Massillon, but they have all these guys hurt, or this Hoban and Massillon team is just so much better than them. And you knew going in, yeah, anything can happen, but they're probably not going to win this game. That game was in doubt until the very last drive, and Hoban knew it. Tim Terrell did not take this Avon team lightly. He knows how good they are, and that's why they had that game plan of, all right, just ground and pound, burn the clock as much as we can and take it right to them, and it worked. There were a couple of questionable coaching decisions on the Avon side. I know we talked about that. That's no disrespect to Mike Elder. At the end of the day, it was a great football game, and I think you're right. Avon is going to be back here. Their time will come. I am confident in that. And I know it's, again, 5 in a row now in the state semifinals that they've lost, but I'm as confident as anything that one day they're going to get back to that state championship game, and I don't think it's going to be too far down the line.
So Thursday, again, it'll be Hoban against Winton Woods in Division II. That'll shift the way to Friday. And after the Division IV title game earlier in the morning, we'll come at you at about 2:50 for the Division III state championship game. This will depend on timing, but that's our anticipated start time, 2:50 before a 3 o'clock scheduled kickoff at Tom Benson. The Division III state championship game, Chardon against Baden. TC, it's one thing when you're the hunter and you're chasing everybody in Division III and you think it's your time and you run the table and you win like they did last year, talk about the Hilltoppers. But when you've got that target on your back, it's a much different thing. And a lot of the other coaches in Northeast Ohio that are involved this weekend can certainly relate. Hoban certainly can, and Kirtland certainly can, about being defending champions and trying to win back-to-back titles and things like that. But Chardon all year long, they've never lost their focus, and they have been, in top form since day one, especially on defense. But as we saw in the Kenston game, they're opportunistic and they can score offensively besides just grinding out in their version of the wing team.
I would agree with that. And how many times this year do we say, all right, who's the team that's going to be able to take on Chardon? Oh, Kenston. No, they got blown out. Aurora, they had some injuries. They never got there. Dover, this Dover team looks great. They just get absolutely obliterated in the regional final. Even West Holmes last week. West Holmes is a team that had a very, very good defense, and Chardon just absolutely shut them down. Just took it to them. And then on offense, they had a very good offense as well. They shut them down the entire night. Forced, I think, 3 or 4 turnovers in that game. We know how good that defense is with Nathaniel Sulka, but the offense with Alex Henry, that really not really a flashy game plan, but they're still able to just score points with the best of them. And I think you're right, opportunistic. They did it against Kenston, and they did it last week against West Holmes. If you give them an inch, whether it's through a turnover or maybe not picking up a first down here and there, they're going to take a mile, and they're going to make you pay in every single way possible. Now, this Baden team, again, we haven't seen any of them all year because of just where we are, but just looking at their numbers, they're very similar. They have one of the best defenses in the state of Ohio. Only allowed 5 postseason games, Dino. Baden has allowed a total of 19 points, 3 shutouts, including last week against Granville. So it's going to be strength on strength. I would imagine a very low scoring game Friday afternoon, but it just seems to me that Chardon has a confidence about them. Similar to the schools you mentioned, like Hoban, like Kirtland, even though those teams are a bit more established in this position, Chardon just has that air about them where it's like, we're not losing to anybody.
Right.
We are that much better than you, and we don't care how good your roster is, who you've beaten, if you're undefeated or not. We are going to absolutely obliterate you. And I'm not saying that's going to happen this Friday, but that confidence is going to go a long way. And I'm sure Baden knows that going in. But so, again, like I said, strength on strength, and it's going to be very interesting to watch.
Yeah, if I'm Baden, I want to get the momentum early, try to get a score or something, and try to chip into that as you said, that air of invincibility that Chardon has, because when you win 27 in a row, or whatever they're up to now, it's well deserved. So I think that'll be Baden's approach. And then once that game is over, we get a little bit of a break, and then it's 7:30 Saturday or Friday night, not Saturday yet, still on Friday. We'll get another look at St. Edward as they'll take on Springfield in the Division I title game. You mentioned it. We saw the Eagles 2 weeks ago play at just a really high level, TC. And it was, I would imagine, for Tom Lombardo, offense, defense, and special teams, because of the Castleberry kick return, all the facets were working that night for the Eagles. And you got to think you're going to need, you'll know you can run the football. They know they're also balanced. I think we figured that out watching them against Medina.
No question.
They're going to need another multifaceted type of game to beat Springfield and come away with a fifth state championship.
They really played the perfect game against Medina, just like you said, in all facets of the game. And as we mentioned, it felt like they were a team on a mission, where they had just been thinking about that loss to Medina in last year's playoffs for those preceding 365 days. And that was all of that frustration laid out on the field in Parma. And they certainly earned it, just like they earned a very tough win against Upper Arlington last week in the state semifinals. Now, again, we know how good St. Edward's offense is. We know they can score with Christian Ramos and Ryan Miklich, Danny Enovich. It was the defense, to me, that really came up huge in that game against Medina. I believe it was just the interceptions getting to Drew Aller, just making him work for it all night. Threw it 62 times. And he just couldn't find anything. It was Carlton Landingham with 2 of those picks. And then the special teams with Joel Castleberry. We said that you're going to have to play a perfect game to beat a team like Medina, and they did it that night. Now they're going to be playing against a team in Springfield. Well, they got a pretty good quarterback themselves. Tayshawn Smoot, who's more of a dual threat quarterback, not the prototypical passer like Aller is. Well, he's got 20 touchdowns through the air. That's pretty good. 22 on the ground, Dino. So there's I say dual threat, there's your definition right there. He's got offers from more than 20 schools, including all 3 service academies, as well as Akron and Kent State. So hats off to him. One of his favorite targets, Anthony Brown, going to Minnesota, had offers from Penn State and Michigan. He's only a junior, and he's got 6 touchdowns this year. And then on defense, it's Delian Bradley, the safety, 5 interceptions this year. So we talk about St. Edward being a well-rounded team. This Springfield squad is a well-rounded team.
Yeah.
I said strength on strength with Chardon and Baden. It really seems like you have 2 very similar schools facing off in Division I. And of course, when you're Springfield, you beat a team like Moeller that, lo and behold, St. Edward lost to this year.
Right.
You've proven you belong in the spot. And you know Tom Lombardo, he's been here before. He's not going to take it lightly. He knows how – he's probably gotten this list I have 5 times over. He knows how good they are. And he knows his team's going to have to execute. If they can do that, hopefully they can bring a 5th state title back to Lakewood.
Yeah, you think about this weekend. Hoban under Tim Tyrrell, 5 state championships, going for number 6 on Thursday. Chardon going for number 2 and back-to-back under Mitch Hewitt this weekend on Friday. St. Edward has won 4, 2 under Rick Finati and 2 under Tom Lombardo since 2010. So going for the number 5 and number 3 under Coach Lombardo. And then you have this amazing, unbelievable run for the Kirtland Hornets that will continue on Saturday night. They'll look for number 56 in a row, as you mentioned, and they will look for Tiger Laverty's 7th state championship when the Hornets take on Versailles. And you know, we've watched 2 of these state championship games. There in 2018, we were there in 2019, and we saw a regular season game last year against Solon. We saw a regular season game this year against Perry. The approach never changes, TC. It is just always, you're not going to make a mistake. You know, in this system, you know, they don't make mistakes. They don't beat themselves. The penalties, the turnovers, you just don't see that with Kirtland. They just are disciplined. Everybody does their job, and you can plug in a different running back, different quarterback. It doesn't matter. The constants, though, the thing that I just have always appreciated, that you do have guys who've been there 3 or 4 years. And in this case, Mason Russ, Gage Sullivan. If Kirtland wins Saturday night, one or both of those guys, I would say both, will have had a huge impact on how the game is played. Those 2 guys are not going to want to go out losing their last game. They're going to want to go out 4 years, 4 championships, and we'll call their numbers a lot on offense and defense, especially offense with Russ, especially defense, special teams with Gage. That's, to me, is where it starts with Kirtland.
I want people to step back and just think about how special this is, what's going on in Kirtland. And this is not to denigrate other schools like Archbishop Hoban or St. Edward. Obviously, that is so hard for them to do as well, and hats off to them for doing it. There is that different dynamic of they're the private schools. They have a little bit more resources. They're a bit more established. This is a Division V school in Kirtland, Ohio. I think the thing they were most known for before was that was where the Mormon church was founded.
That's
or
right.
One of the first Mormon temples was founded. And here they are, 55 wins in a row, Dino. They win Saturday night, that's 56. They're 1 away from the state record, the all-time Ohio State record held by Delphos St. John's. I think if you gave Tiger Laverty a little bit of truth serum, and you asked him, did you ever think you would be able to accomplish this? Not saying you'd be good. Obviously, I think he thought they'd be good, but this were historic dominance. I don't even think he would have believed it. It's just so amazing to watch. And I hope people take it in, because at some point it's going to end. It could be this weekend. We hope not. It could be this weekend, could be 5 years from now. But this is not normal. What Kirtland is doing, what this small little public school in Lake County is doing, this Division V school taking on Division I teams over the last couple of years and just absolutely dominating them from top to bottom. And you're right, with guys like Mason Russ and Ramon Lascano and others leading that team, Gage Sullivan, it's not flashy. It's not trying to fool the other squad. It's no, here's what we're going to do. We're going to get you in the trenches. You know what's coming, and you're not going to be able to stop it. Versailles does have a very good lineman on offense and defense. Teron Tayo, top recruit going to Ball State. So that will give Versailles, I'm sorry, that will give them a little bit of a boost in dealing with that Kirtland machine. But if history is a guide to us, Dino, I don't even know if that's going to be enough, because we've seen them play these all-state players who are going to these big schools, going to Ohio State even, and they still just absolutely pick them apart. Again, hats off, Tiger Laverty, one of the best coaching jobs I think this state has ever seen. And any list of best coaches in Ohio history, high school football, I think Tiger Laverty has to be in that conversation.
There's no question. The one thing just to think about for Kirtland on Saturday night, there's really no situation that they haven't been into during the course of this long 55 game win streak. And we've seen a couple of them. Like, Mogador took them to the limit. Ironton in the state championship game a couple of years ago, that game was back and forth. They have been pushed to the limit, but they've also, we've had so many scenarios where, like, okay, maybe this is the week where, Riverside's going to play them, Solon's going to play them, Perry's going to play them, somebody from a higher division is going to play them. Well, maybe this is the week they're going to get challenged. And they have risen to the occasion every single time. So, it's a lot to ask on a group of kids and a coaching staff to rise again. But this is what they work so hard, and they have built such an amazing program over there for this opportunity to come back Saturday night and try to win yet another state crown. And this time it'll be Versailles with the opportunity to slay the dragon that are the Kirtland Hornets.
It just shows you for all the things coaches try to, we're going to reinvent things here. We're going to have a new way of winning. At the end of the day, it's all about fundamentals. And Kirtland does that so well. That to me is why they're as good as they are. Just the basics. They do the basics better than anybody. And because of that, they're able to just be better than anybody in every facet of the game. And I'm looking forward to taking it all in Saturday night and seeing if they can do it once again.
Yeah, that will be our game Saturday night. 7:20 will be our start time for the Division 5 state championship game, Kirtland and Versailles, to wrap up the weekend of state championships in Canton, to wrap up the WKYC game of the week for the 16 weeks that we've been fortunate enough to be with everybody. And folks, just kind of sit back this weekend and enjoy it with us. We had this scenario a few years ago. We had 3 games in a day, and it's something special to
Don't
watch.
remind me.
I know. Yes, that was a long day. But the pageantry of a state championship weekend, back where it belongs at Tom Benson Stadium, is something very special. And just kind of sit back, eat, have your dinner with us, have lunch with us, pack a sandwich with us, and take us in the car if you're driving, and enjoy this, because this is what Northeast Ohio high school football is all about.
I will note too, we've broadcast 4 state championship games since we've started doing this 3 years ago.
Yes.
Northeast Ohio teams are 4-0 in those games. So I'm not saying we're a good luck charm, Dino, but I just think that I think it's best that we are there on Friday and Saturday. And I'm certainly, it's going to be a blessing to be able to do it once again. And it's going to be a blessing to finally be able to call a game with you.
I look forward to that, my friend. Yes, you've done a great job piloting us here for all these years at the station. So I'm happy to have you with me on Saturday night. Doug Snyder, the athletic director at Chardon, pointed out to me this week that the Hilltoppers are undefeated in their appearances on the WKYC game of the week. So they're very excited that we have picked that game amongst others to do. So we'll see if the magic can continue for Northeast Ohio, but we're certainly look forward to a magical weekend of coverage here on WKYC.com. Again, just to make a note, again, Friday, 2:50. It'll be Chardon and Baden in the Division III state championship game. Then we'll come back a little later on that evening for St. Edward and Springfield in Division I. Then TC and I back with you Saturday night to wrap up the weekend with Kirtland and Versailles. Partner, get some rest. And I will talk to you on Friday, and I will see you on Saturday.
Got to get in the zone. Got to get one question. Will there be food in the Tom Benson press box?
Oh, they take magnificent care of us. There will be food. There will be beverages. Last time I think I did a game, there was, and of course this is pre-COVID. I think we had some kind of a pasta dish, and we've also had burgers and dogs. So no, it's this top notch, my friend. You're going to be well taken care of.
This is going to be one of the happiest days of my life.
And everybody in Kirtland is hoping it'll be like that for them as well. TC, thanks so much, my man, and we'll talk to you this weekend.
Looking forward to it, Gino. Let's have some fun. One more week. Cannot wait. Cannot
One more
wait.
week. 3 state championship games starting for us on Friday. Enjoy, everyone. For TC, Tyler Carey, I'm Dave DiNatale. Thanks for watching the WKYC High School Football Game of the Week preview show.